the city of Splendors, where gold streets gleam, a healer's dream turns to a wild new scheme. With scalpels traded for daggers and scrolls, they're patching up wounds and knocking out trolls. From potions to patience, they've seen it all, but dragons and devils, that's a new call. They're the Clinicians of Chaos, rolling dice and rewriting charts, dodging fireballs and mending hearts. They're the Clinicians of Chaos, magic and medicine, sword and sass. Grab your kit and your courage, 'cause this shift's gonna kick your...
Welcome back for episode 2. In session 1, our 6 fresh adventurers met for the first time in the Yawning Portal, summoned for their induction into the Order of the First Hand. Their HR orientation was cut short, literally when a troll and swarm of blood-sucking sturges clawed their way out of the Yawning Portal itself. In the chaos that followed, the party discovered several hard truths. Friends are not fireproof. Trolls can, in fact, be kicked to death, and cleaning up monster guts is not listed in the benefits package. After a triumphant, if not somewhat messy victory, they butchered the troll, salvaged its hide, and earned their first mission. As their efforts have caught the eye of Voldethump Godam, who offered them their first real contract, track down Flume Blackmar, a missing friend last seen near the Skewered Dragon in the dock ward. So we rejoin them, gearing up to follow Flume's trail into the grimy heart of Waterdeep's dock ward. As you look around, you notice the striking absence that 2 of your party have already vanished. You see a trail of pipe smoke disappearing out of a door, and you hear Lustrous crying out as a door slams behind her that she must visit the Scribes Guild, as at some point you may need some false identification, and she knows somebody who might be able to help. So right now, there's the 4 of you left in the Yawning Portal with a mission at hand. What would you like to do?
So Morgrim, after sort of sluicing off the worst of the troll guts, walks back into the Yawning Portal, notices that 2 of the members have disappeared, shrugs, and comes to the rest of them and says, particularly to Spearsight, I have managed to harvest all of the meat and found that there is a person by the name of Morlin Two Fists. He is at the Skewered Dragon. He is there most nights. Maybe we can use the meat to get information about this Flume person. Spearsit, you look like you could do talking for me.
I can do that. I am actually a little bit hungry, but if we must use the meat to get some information, I'm okay with that. Shall we go?
Why are we not just eating the meat and then we can beat this man into telling us what we need to know?
I'm hungry. I only had soup. It was liquid.
I feel like we should try talking to him before we beat him into submission. Please. This is failing.
Try it first, but if you fail, we are beating him.
Oh, I don't want to be the one to talk to him. Someone else can. Well, I mean, I can try.
I mean, I can talk to him if you'd like. We can see those 2 fists.
People, I think that we get more money for meat if pretty lady talks to man than if you talk to him.
I agree.
I mean, if I talk, we can get all his belongings.
How do we know he likes ladies? Let's not waste time. I'm hungry.
Shall we head off then?
So you leave the Yawning Portal, and as you walk away, I'll pull up a map for you so you can see roughly where you are. You are on the up here at the sort of north edge of the dock ward, and you've been told that the Skewered Dragon is right down here at the bottom southern tip of the Dockwood. So it's a little bit of a walk, and late afternoon, early evening, you leave the yawning portal, and as you walk down through the Dockwood, the streets close in around you, and the further south you go, the narrower and meaner it becomes every step. The air thickens, shadows slink around broken carts and boarded up windows. You hear glass shattering somewhere in the distance. You pass by a sailor slumped up against a wall. It looks like his coin purse has already been cut off his belt. There's blood pooling beneath him. There's a crate of oranges spilled rotten into the gutter, and there's rats swarming and hissing. And one looks up at you with these sort of yellow eyes and something that looks a bit too bloody to just be fruit hanging out of its mouth. And as you make your way down, you find streets that have been cordoned off by the city watch, and lying on the cobblestones are half a dozen corpses, just seemingly the victims of some terrible skirmish. And there's 3 blood-drenched people in manacles being dragged off in a cart. And there's an officer, carry on, nothing to see here. And you carry on working your way down Zastro Street towards Fillet Lane. And as you get down here, there's a couple of things that catch your eye. As you're working your way towards where you think this bar is, there's a small shop wedged between these tall warehouses. And above the door, it swings a battered sign with a purple multi-eyed beast on the sign, and in the window a real purple beholder appears to be sitting in the window of this shop. Its purple body sort of cracked and peeling, and all its eye stalks curled in odd directions, almost like melted candles, and it seems to be watching you out of the window as you head down here. You're carrying on to the Skewered Dragon?
So Morgan looks at it and goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
This place is super safe, guys.
Is there a like a sign which tells us a bit more about this beholder location?
There's the sign over the top of this sort of swinging sign, which has got purple beholder on it, which is also purple, has the words Old Zoblob Shop written in peeling gold letters.
So Morgan hasn't been in the city long. Has he heard of the Old Zoblob Shop?
Not from where you've been so far, and it looks so ridiculously wrong in this location. This is dirty, grimy, everything's grey and boarded up, and in the middle of this narrow sort of almost alley with these tall towering warehouses is this bright purple shop sort of wedged in between these warehouses with this beholder stuck in the middle.
I mean, I'm intrigued. Do you guys want to go in?
I'm kind of
Morgan's slightly intrigued, but is wondering,
like cautiously intrigued.
Yeah, Morgan's going to hang back, mostly because he's still thinking about how this is going to be related to the sailor, but is intrigued.
Have I heard of a Zoblob before?
You've heard vaguely about that Zoblob worked here hundreds of years ago. This shop's been here for a very long time, is under new ownership, and is still called Zoblob. Zoblob spelled X-O-B-L-O-B.
Oh, Zoblob is the beholder.
Nobody knows that. The person who used to run this shop was called Zoblob. It was Zoblob's shop. But the shop's come under new ownership, and it appears to still be Zoblob's shop.
And just to clarify, the beholder appears to be in some kind of container.
Roll perception. It does not appear to be in a container with a 4 on perception. It appears to be a freestanding beholder.
And it looks like it's looking at us.
You can roll perception too if you want to. See if you can.
With a 20.
With a 20, you are very confident that this beholder is stuffed. This is not an actual beholder. You think that this is either a taxidermied beholder that has been dyed purple, or is a recreation. And you point out where what looks almost like papier-mâché has started to peel away in the background, but you don't think this is an actual beholder.
The person who skinned this beholder did not do a very good job.
You need to give it some lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a beholder? It's a weird-looking cat.
You can roll history to see if anybody actually knows what a beholder is.
Oh, natural 20.
Ooh.
With -1 is 19, but still natural 20.
I got 5.
So
what do we
with
roll?
I want to hear the 5.
History.
Guys, I have a -1.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to roll anyway.
Hey, I've got a -1. I got a crit.
I got 19.
Crit's a crit. We'll take
I've got a
crit.
7.
Okay, so the only person who's heard anything about beholders is Morgrim, which is particularly strange. And what Morgrim knows about beholders is that they are floating eye monsters. You've heard that these are monstrous tyrants, that they have forces for controlling the weak, that they are generally best avoided, often found in caves to catch out to the unwary. They're certainly a tale that you would have grown up with, of sort of almost like the bogeyman, in that, you know, don't go in that cave. You might get, the beholder might get you. You have heard that they're associated with, as a symbol, with one of the guilds in Waterdeep, and that's Xanathar's guild. You've heard that sometimes the beholder has been linked with them, and them having eyes everywhere and knowing what's going on in the city.
So Morgrim is now interested, knowing that they know everything about what's going on. Morgrim is interested to have a look in there. He would be much less interested if he thought that the beholder wasn't a fake, but knowing that it's a symbol, he wants to join Kavrak going in.
Yeah, let's go in.
Yeah, Phelan also goes in.
Nothing will go wrong. We should go in.
Now I don't want to go in.
I'll happily take the first step.
Okay. So you push open this door. This is a narrow door. It's almost sort of creaked in half. It doesn't look like it should function as a door, but it appears to, and it creaks this sort of long, dry groan, like it's not been opened in years. But it's still in business, so somebody must come here. And as you open the door, this small bell jingles sort of flat, and this heady mix of incense and dust and something a bit medicinal and something a bit metallic sort of hits you as you walk in. And there's shelves everywhere. You could roll perception or investigation if you want to.
Ooh, 12 on perception.
17 plus 4 is 21. I'm rolling hot tonight.
Okay, 5 on perception. This place is heady. I mean, the smell of patchouli and lavender in here is really quite strong. It's sort of dulling your senses. With a 21 in perception, this place is just full of stuff. There's jars of cloudy liquid with weird shapes. There's faded maps with cryptic sort of symbols scrawled in the margins. There's bits of bone. There's some coins. There's a cracked mirror propped up on a bundle of sticks. There's a bunch of keys hanging from the bottom of a tapestry, and everything in here is purple. Everything. There's purple cloths on the shelves. With a 21, you think there might be, but you're not really sure where to start. There's a figure sitting on the counter, and this old gnome peers at you. He's completely bald, and his face is covered in purple eyes.
So I go up to the gnome. Morgan goes up to the gnome and says, I hear you know how to find people around the city.
He leans forward and he goes, so what are you really looking for? He's got sort of one eye that's sort of half closed. And he's sitting in these voluminous, massively too big, sort of purple robes, all stitched with these symbols. And he's smoking this pipe that is just puffing out this sort of lavender and patchouli incense that's sort of drifting around. And he squints at you like he's looking through this cloud to try and to see you. What is it that you seek? What is it that you want? Every curiosity has a story, and every story has a price. You look like someone with debts unpaid.
I do not know what you are talking about. I'm looking for two things. First thing I am looking for is man. He goes by, he's got golden blonde hair apparently, goes by name Flume. You find me this person, we talk more.
I'm not sure I remember anything about a Flume.
Spearsight whispers into Morgan's ear, offer him some meat.
Morgan talks back, not so good with the words. You go first.
So, would you like some troll meat? We got some.
He opens one eye and he gestures around him and goes, I do not think the colour of the troll meat would match the ambiance of the rest of the shop. I thank you, but no. I have very specific tastes.
It was butchered by this guy. She points to Morgan. Look at it.
He sort of tilts his head on one side and looks at Morgan and goes, and then he looks at you as Spearsight and goes, neither are purple. It is unclear what you seek. And he walks over to a shelf and he brings down this spyglass that seems to be missing a lens, like a magnifying glass that just doesn't have a lens in it. And he goes, this is useful. Troll meat. This.
Is the troll? Did anyone get the troll meat out? Because. Or is it still in the bag?
As Spearsight was talking about it, I took one of the nicer cuts that looked nicer that I did, obviously, and showed it.
I look at the guy and I say, it could be purple, and I use prestidigitation to make I can make the color purple appear on an object or a surface for an hour. So I make it purple.
Okay, in that case, roll persuasion with advantage if you're offering him purple troll meat. So persuasion with advantage.
It's 11.
He chuckles and he goes, a fabulous illusion, and he pulls down this purple marble and he runs his fingers over it. It changes to red, and he smiles, and it changes back to purple again. And he goes, I could also make things change color, but troll meat always smells like troll meat.
So Morgan is going to reach for this magnifying glass thing, unless he stopped, pick it up and look at the man through the magnifying glass.
Okay, roll perception with advantage.
Okay. So that is another natural 20 for 24.
Oh, you have all the dice. So with a natural 20, you look at Zoblob, and he looks exactly the same. But as you look around the shelves, you can see writing, and you can see writing on the shelves. You can see writing on the wall. You can see writing across the counter. Where you take the eyeglass away, there's nothing there at all. But when you look through this eyeglass, there's just this invisible writing all over this shop, and you would deduce that this lens that's missing, or this spyglass that's missing a lens, allows you to read invisible text.
Ooh. Do I recognize what any of the invisible text says?
A favor to the eye is never repaid in coin. They slither beneath the streets, follow the serpent's tail. The purple never forgets.
So I, look down and says, and I said to him, "You're right. This is useful. How much you want for this?"
He smiles and he goes, "I would let you have that for 10 gold pieces."
Ah, that is very expensive. I do not have 10 gold pieces. You do for a little less.
He pulls out a deck of what appear to be completely blank cards, and he draws a card. And as he draws this card, the card turns purple, and a shape appears of a smiling child on this card. And he goes, 2 gold pieces, and puts the card back, and the card becomes just blank as he puts it back.
Oh, deal. And I hand him 2 gold pieces to take the magnifying glass.
You have a brass spyglass that generally, as a spyglass, functions poorly, but it can see any invisible writing within 10 feet if you look through it.
Brusque spyglass.
Just brass. Brass spyglass. It functions absolutely uselessly as an actual spyglass.
Good for looking at
magic.
magic.
Any lenses.
Nice.
I'd like to cast my eyes around the shop and see if I notice anything that looks like it might have healing properties.
Okay. Roll investigation.
Oh no, I'm bad at that. But yet I rolled a 19 for a total of 18.
As you look around, you come across a couple of things. You see what appears to be a potion, and it stands out because it looks like a sunset. So the top of this potion is dark purple, but then below it, it's this sort of dark red and orange. And it's got a little label of guaranteed to taste like burnt plums. He sees you looking at that and goes, it is bottled sunset in glass, has phenomenal healing properties. It's a straightforward potion of healing. Or if that is too costly, and he pulls out this tin, and in this tin is this purple balm, this sort of soothing ointment. And he goes, you could rub this on any wound and it won't hurt. You won't even remember what caused it.
Morgrim is freaked out by the idea of losing his memory.
Yeah, Phelan's a little hesitant about that bit as well. He asks, "Can you when you say you don't remember what caused it, can you tell me more about that?"
Well, it is the salve of forgetful comfort. You rub it on a wound and it feels better. The pain has gone and you won't even remember what caused it. As I said, quite clearly.
Does it actually do any healing?
A small amount, but you feel so much better.
I think Phelan's a bit more interested in the potion than he is in the salve after that explanation.
Kavrak wants to know if you drink it, what happens?
The salve. If you you ask him that, he looks completely horrified and goes, well, no one has ever tried. It would be interesting to find out, I grant you. Should you wish to drink it, I would certainly give it to you for a discount as a modicum of experimental value. I mean, this would normally be around 15 gold pieces. I would give it to you for 4 if you were planning on drinking it.
Do it. Do it.
Kavrak has a tiny bit of curiosity about it, but he genuinely doesn't like to drink purple things.
Spearside wants to know if there's anyone else in this shop besides the 4 of us and the gnome.
With the perception checks that have already been rolled in the 20s, you're pretty sure that you're the only the only people in here. Certainly. You do feel like you're being watched, though.
Spearside whispers to Kavrak, "Do you want to raid this shop?"
Kavrak whispers back, "I'll distract him."
We need to get the others on board first. We need 4 people, I think.
That's true. We'll get the little man and the elf.
The city watch is always better at catching shop thieves than they are at stopping crime. You saw the people dead on the street as we came in. I think this is not smart plan.
All right, then.
All right.
Okay, Party Pooka.
Kavrak goes back to patting the beholder.
As you pat the beholder, its eye stalks just gently twitch, like that, like a dog or a cat. Well, when it's dreaming, its eye stalks just twitch as you pat it.
Cat.
Phelan turns to the gnome and says, "How much for the sunset potion?"
Well, a potion like that would set you back as 30 gold unless you have something to trade.
Troll meat.
We tried the troll meat. I mean, I point to Morgrim with the troll meat and raise my eyebrow questioningly.
What about the troll skin? Has it turned purple yet?
Morgrim is very protective of the troll skin when Spearsight mentions that.
Kavrak reassures the shopkeeper that if you leave the meat long enough, it will probably turn purple.
The Zoblob sort of looks at you and waggles a finger and goes, "Gold. No, let's make it more interesting. Give me a memory. 1 memory. First kiss, first bite, first failure. You pick. I'll bottle it. You buy the healing."
Spearside is slightly interested.
An empty purple bottle.
They're slightly interested in getting rid of an unpleasant memory. Is that something of interest?
And he leans forward and he goes, "Unpleasant memories They're the best. And he reaches down, he brings out a bigger bottle that this one's encased in sort of a purple metallic wire. And he unstops it very carefully and offers it to you. He goes, speak your memory.
Do I have to say it out loud so other people will hear it?
You can whisper it to the bottle. If they hear it, that's your fault, not mine.
Phelan, how much do you want this?
The potion. I mean, like, if you don't want to do that, I'm not particularly attached to the idea of getting it. I can do.
It's a memory. It's a memory I don't want. I think maybe I could get rid of it, and then I won't remember it, and I will be happier.
Well, if you say it out loud, we could just tell you what it is afterwards.
I thought you were my friend. Next time we meet a monster and you're holding on to it, I'm not going to worry about burning you, okay?
Above the table, if you don't want to tell them what the secret is, you can absolutely put a secret, just message me and tell me what your secret is, and we can bottle your secret. You don't have to tell them.
No, I don't mind. If they hear it, they hear it. If they're nosy and they want to hear it, they can hear it.
Well, Phelan respectfully blocks his ears.
While this is happening, Morgrim is looking through the spyglass and trying to write down as best he can the invisible words that you told me.
Okay.
Because I've forgotten most of them apart from follow the invisible serpent. But he'd be writing this down with the charcoal and paper that you gave us before.
Spearsight walks up to the bottle and whispers into it. When I was 17, my best friend, who I thought was my best friend, made fun of my pet rock, and I accidentally let loose my magic, and now it is mute, and it's living in a cave all by itself. And then my parents sent me away to the army, and then she turns around and sheds a tear.
And you see this, or you don't, but everybody else would see this this potion bottle fill with this sort of roiling, boiling purple liquid, and Zoblob stops it quickly, and you watch a single tear fall from one of the 9 eyes painted on his face, and roll down his cheek, this sort of tiny purple tear. He goes, excellent, excellent. You now have absolutely no memory of that event and uncertain significance about the thing that you carry with you. Like, not 100% sure why it's quite as important as it is. Not enough that you would throw it away, but not quite clear 100% why it's there all the time. And he gives you this potion of healing. A fair trade. And he proudly puts this, he writes a little tag and puts it up on the shelf with all the other purple potions. That will get a pet. That'll get an excellent
hands
prize.
it to Phelan because she literally has no idea what to do with this.
Kavrak pats Spearside on the shoulder and says, "I'm sorry that happened to your pet rock."
Spearside almost fall to the ground and turns to Kavrak and say, "Easy."
Phelan looks at the potion that Spearside offers him and says, "I think you earned that one. You can hold on to it for in case you need it."
Okay, thanks.
So that's one potion of healing. You can just add it to your inventory, or I can add it later. In terms of invisible writing, Morgrim, you've got a whole collection of things now because you've been going around with this spyglass. Not all wounds are meant to close. Everything purple comes at a price, even the things you don't know you took. Look beneath the lid, then look beneath that. The eye that sees never blinks with the second smile. I'll send you them all.
How much for the
I think you're
beholder?
muted, Morgan. He is not for sale.
Kavrak sheds a tear.
Just very. It's the only really straight. Remind me, why was it you came in here? Was it just to sell your memories for trinkets, or was there something else?
Yeah, we were looking for a guy called Flume. My buddy here described him earlier. I don't suppose you've seen or heard anything about him?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, he came by with another one. Looked similar, big hat, long scarf. 2, maybe 3 nights back. Skewered Dragon, I bet. Think he got jumped. That's what I heard. 5 of them, maybe more.
Do you
Looked
know
like
who
they'd done
did
it
the
before.
jumping?
Didn't recognize. One had a mark, and he pats at the side of his neck, which his face is covered with eyes, but he taps a black ink, winged snake. Didn't linger. Hauled him on, and then he just goes quiet. All the eyes on his face close. And you suddenly realise that at some point they'd all opened. And the one that was crying has now stopped crying. It's all I know. Not my business to know more. He goes back to smoking his pipe.
I turn to my friends and say, "Let us go on to the Skewered Dragon. Perhaps we will find more information there."
Agreed.
Agree.
So you step out of Zoblob's, and as you go outside, it's more damp. It was musty and warm, and it's sort of heavily scented. And you go out into this sort of damp chill of the dock ward, and the sign creaks in the breeze, and you see this sort of beholders, sort of melted candle eye stalks of watching you. And the streets become even darker and even narrower as you move down what's an alley between 2 streets, and the lamps are even fewer and further between, and the cobblestones are increasingly uneven and glistening, and there's puddles. It's not necessarily of rain, and you can hear the ships in the dock, and you see a low slouching building, its walls stained with soot, its signs of swinging on a chain. Its front windows are both smashed, and there's an anchor wedged in the roof, a big ship's anchor. There's a figure slumped in the doorway with a bottle clutched to his chest, just snoring, and from inside you can hear the clash of mugs and the sort of rough noise of sort of half-drunken song.
Morgan just goes in, pushes the door open, and looks for someone with cauliflower ears that he thinks might match the description of Morlun, Two Fists.
And so you sort of push open the door, and it is there's this stale ale and smoke and sort of unwashed sailors sort of hits you. It's just as pungent as Zoblob's shop, but I guess unpleasant, depends on what you favour. Inside it's dim. The lanterns here are all guttering and uneven, and there's a fireplace in the far wall, but it's meagre. It's barely keeping the damp at bay. There's a man behind the bar who sort of glances up and looks at you. He's got heavy brows, and he goes back to just sort of mopping down this bar. You see a figure sat barrel-chested, nose crooked, cauliflower ears, a deep scar going across his scalp through his thinning hair, sitting with a big mug of ale with his feet up on a table at the edge of this fire.
So I walk up to him and says, "You are Morland, yes?"
Who's asking?
Someone with some mutton to sell.
See what you've got.
So he pulls out some of the nicer cuts that he did and shows it's this and more.
Troll. He just looks at you.
Regenerating mutton.
Looks fresh enough. What's your price?
Well,
I ain't paying gold by the pound. Troll meat's trouble rather than treasure.
well, maybe we can do a deal if you have some information for us.
What information do you think is worth troll meat?
Well, a few nights back, there was big floppy man in hat, Volo. He came with friend. We are looking for the friend.
He sits back and he goes, and for this information, you'll give me this troll meat.
Depends how good your information is. If it is good, maybe half. We do a deal for the rest.
We do a deal for all the troll meat before I give you any information.
What guarantees can you give me that you have good information?
What guarantees can you give me that this is decent troll meat?
If you are any type of butcher like my good friend Krusk says, then you already know it is good.
This scar, and he points at this scar on his face, never really healed. That got it in the pits when I was a younger man, and you can see that this scar, although it appears closed and old, as you watch, is just unknitting itself and reopening along his head. And he goes, troll has his uses. And he reaches forward and he cuts a piece off this troll meat that you've been offering him and slaps it on this scar like you'd put a steak on a black eye. And you watch this scar starting to knit back together again. And then he eats the meat and he goes, I've got a lot of troll these days. A little bit more never hurt, though. What information do you want?
I need to find this man. His name is Flume. You give me information which allows me to find, then I give you, I don't know, I give you half the troll meat. If you want more, then you give me some coins to go with.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
Okay. Just a second. Persuasion is not my strong suit. Good thing it's got advantage, because otherwise it would be worse than 5.
He smiles and he goes, you know how it is, seeing things around here. There's a lot to see. If you talk too much, you don't stay alive too long. It'll take more than a bit of troll meat to make me give you something that might get us killed.
So Morgrim, after his dreadful attempt at persuasion, looks over his shoulder at his companions, particularly Spearsight, and tries to get them involved.
Morin just goes back to drinking with his 2 fists This is mug of ale at the in his seat, just waiting.
Look at this. Look at what it did to your wound. This is A grade troll meat. Are you sure our offer is not good enough?
Troll meat is great. I love troll meat. I can just go to the yawning portal and kill myself a troll though. Like, they come up pretty regular. That's how I've been alive as long as I have. I'm 90% troll. A bit more never hurt. I can get troll meat. What he's asking for is going to get me killed. You might need to sweeten the deal a little if you want information for meat.
A guy like you can handle a troll. What have you got to be afraid of?
The troll's an elective assignment. I go to the yawning portal, I wait for a troll, I kill the troll. Getting jumped in an alley down by the docks because I've talked to 4 strangers who come offering a decent butchered cut of meat, I assure you. But even so, yeah, I may need a little bit more persuasion than that.
Kavrak walks back to the man slumped in the doorway, grabs his bottle, brings it over and slams it on the table. I suggest you take this offer, my friend.
Are you intimidating?
I'll try.
Are you going to hoik your axe at the same time, or are you just attacking him with a bottle?
I mean, when Kavrak slams down the bottle, it does disintegrate into the table.
You can roll
I'll
intimidation. And he looks at you standing there in the dissolved bottle all over, and he goes, 5 of them, black leathers, snake tattoo. Didn't ask that many questions. It's not the first that's vanished from here. He was in here a couple of nights back, him and some floppy-headed fella, drinking, thinking they were all that. Don't know what they were slumming it down here for. They could have been drinking anywhere. But anyway, the floppy-haired one, he left. And the blonde prince stuck around long enough to meet someone else. He met Renier Neverember. He's the son of Daggle Neverender, chip off the old block. Just a spoiled, rich noble likes to come down here, slumming it, rub our noses in it. They got drunk. They played a few rounds of 3 Dragon Ante. They lost. They didn't pay. And then they packed out about midnight. 5 fellas followed them out. Don't know what happened after that. They've not been back. And then he leans forward and he goes, we see him somewhere sometimes. There's a warehouse, Candle Lane. You see them down there. It's got that snake symbol just by the door on the lintel. If he's anywhere, if he's not dead yet, it's probably where he'll be. It's where I'd look. Always Zents, causing trouble.
Thank you, friend.
He goes back.
And then Kavrak looks over his shoulder to his friends. I hope you guys got that because I didn't understand a word.
Morgrim nods his thanks and then reaches into his bag and takes out the cuts that Krusk did and gives them to him.
Morlin looks at you, raises an eyebrow and goes, you didn't butcher this bit. Your work's better than that.
I said half.
He goes, I'll take it, but I'd give you 20 gold for the rest.
Morgrim nods and then gets out the rest of the troll meat.
20 gold?
Mm-hmm. He'll take that.
And he sort of goes under the table and he pulls out this, and he counts it from sort of one coin purse into another and passes a coin purse sort of under the table, looking around as he's doing it. open money changing in here is a dangerous thing to do.
Of course.
Kavrak holds out his hand to Morgrim.
Morgrim looks at Kavrak, raises an eye, and says, "Open money changing is a dangerous business in this place." And
Kavrak
then
responds, "I am the dangerous business."
then he lowers his voice and says, "Don't worry, that contract they made us sign means that I have to share the money anyway."
Grunts in approval.
Morlin leans over to you, Kavrak, and he goes, "You should go meet my brother. He's often down dockside, has a warehouse, deals in specialty goods. You'd find him, looks a lot like me. His name's Paulin. He might have some work for you if you needed it. He's always looking for people who can put the wind up some of his more difficult customers."
Kavrak brushes some glass shards off his vest. Thanks him.
Morgrim looks at him and says, "What sort of specialty goods?"
What sort you interested in?
It's always good to have contacts.
He leans forward and goes, "Bit of this, bit of that. Depends what they bring in. From the provinces, what comes off the ships, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, bit upstairs on the front, bit under the table. You know how it goes."
Morgrim nods. "I will keep this in mind."
So you have no troll meat. You have 20 gold. And you know, or you know that Morlin thinks that the best place to go looking is somewhere on Candle Lane, on a warehouse up on Candle Lane.
So Morgrim is going to head out without talking about a plan in a place that obviously has ears, and go. I don't have the map there, but go sort of nearby-ish enough to get a view on it without being completely obvious, and then see if there's anything interesting at the doorway, whether he's being followed, that sort of thing.
Roll perception.
That'd be a 9. The rolls are drying out.
Yeah, you go out and you're sort of a little way away. You can't see anything here that looks suspicious in any way, shape, or form. This appears to be completely deserted, and nothing to see here at all, as far as you're aware.
So Morgan then turns to his companion and says, "So do we go up to the front door and knock, or has someone else got a better idea?"
Kavrak looks at Spearsight. We could just set it on fire.
Spearsight nods. She's interested.
Might make it hard to recover the Flume, though. You might go up in flumes.
That is true.
It's tricky. On one hand, fire.
You just clear your map for you so you can see.
What about if we offer to sell our elf friend?
Me? I don't know if you'd get much for me.
What about if we just set
It gets at
one
least as
side
much
on
as we got for
fire?
the troll.
Smoke them out.
You go up to this.
Does Morgrim know who the Zents are? Because I know who the Zents are, but does Morgrim know who the Zents are?
How long have you been in town?
We said I was in town for maybe a week or so, maybe a bit longer, until he got disheartened and joined the First Hand.
Yeah, so you will have you would have heard about them. They've got a sort of open recruitment policy, I think would be the easiest way of describing it. So if you're looking for signing up for stuff, you picked the Order of the First Hand over the Black Network, which is the sort of rival recruiting agency of Waterdeep. Anyone can join. It's known to sort of trade mercenaries and goods and run undercover sort of things for profit. In terms of the things that you wanted to achieve when you came to Waterdeep, you didn't think that as an organization would fit with that. It sounded more like somebody you might actively need to be looking against rather than looking for.
Morgan sort of says, I suggest, so stealing a prisoner, maybe they don't like us. Destroying a warehouse, maybe we make enemies we are not ready to deal with. I like the idea of smoking out, but it's dangerous to make enemies here.
You go and case out this warehouse. There's an outer yard. There's a high fence. The gate on this fence doesn't appear to be locked. You can see 3 points of entry. There's a front door. There's a large sort of what looks like a loading dock where the carts would pull up. So a big sort of warehouse loading door, and then some windows that are painted over that you can't see in. You can't see anything inside. You can't look in through any of the windows. The door doesn't have anything you can see through. You can roll perception to see if you can see whether you can hear anybody inside. If you're scouting out this place.
10.
Anyone else? The 10 from Orgrim.
2.
14. With 14, you think you can hear movement inside. Nobody else hears anything at all. With a 2, Spearsite, you are so intently focused on looking for bits of this building that might be easy to set fire to, you don't hear anything at all. You're completely looking for things that look flammable. This appears to be a stone building. The bits that you can see that look flammable would be the door, which is made of wood, and the big warehouse doors, which are also made of wood.
What about the roof?
So this is a 2-story warehouse. There's no obvious ladder or route up from the outside. The windows on the top floor are, if you stand back on the other side of the lane, look like they're boarded over.
So I look at Kavrak and the others and say, should we go in the windows?
I reckon we can boost our friends up into them.
Fair. So I'm suggesting that we all go through the windows and slowly make room by room. If we need to subdue people, it's better to do one at a time.
And
Kavrak's on board.
it's an hour and 5. We are going to leave it there until next week. So you are out on Candle Lane, outside of this warehouse with the snake symbol etched onto the wood, weighing up whether to go through a window, burn down a door, kick it in, knock it in, climb up a wall. And that's where we're going to leave it this week, and be back probably next week. And before we go, we're going to put a plug out for Get In, Get Strahd, Get Out, Operation Black Dawn, which should be airing on the One Shot channel in the next couple of weeks. So keep a lookout for that, and we'll play their promo as we head out this evening. So thank you very much. I will see you next time.
Bye.
The following performance contains scenes of supernatural violence, tragic monologues, and the statistically inevitable death of at least one beloved party member. Viewer discretion is futile but appreciated. This broadcast is rated V for vampire and may include undeath, existential dread, and impromptu interpretive dance during moments of mortal peril. Pursuant to Barovian law, all viewers must be of their 15th name day or older, or possess written consent from a parent, legal guardian, or lich lord of standing. No bards were harmed in the making of this broadcast, yet.
Tonight, the veil between worlds trembles beneath the blood moon over Barovia. The stage is set for the performance of a lifetime, or the last curtain call these artists will ever take. In the shadow of Castle Ravenloft, 4 virtuosos prepare to do the impossible. Not just to perform, but to bring down the house, with Count Strahd still in it. Dorothea, the feline phenomenon, velvet-voiced, diamond-clawed, self-appointed leader, legend in her own lifetime, and a nightmare in rehearsal. Grigor, trained by the cruelest choreographers in the realms, sculpted in discipline, tempered in tempo. They said he had no soul. He danced one into existence. Drumstick, once lent his sick beat to the military machine. Now, the beat is in his chest before the battle begins. He doesn't sing, rather, Drumstick signals the end. Ashrin, the reluctant prodigy. A mind too sharp for this world, a heart dragged on stage by obligation. But tonight, he composes his own story, his own escape. These bards don't just bring music. They bring judgment. It's a showdown. It's a statement. It's showtime.
2 minutes to curtain.